These two stocks look like they're preparing to skyrocket, and it's all about this Bitcoin ETF that is pending approval. I normally don't make videos like this. I thought I would share it with you and for you to be able to make your own informed decision if this is something that you want to be a part of. Now, this was brought to my attention by my LPP team. If you want to learn more about that, it's the second link in the description down below. But we got to jump right into this. So again, overall NASDAQ market did very, very well today. The first one that I wanted to talk about is Mara. Mara, based off of recent patterns, I'm going to click on the day chart and I'm going to click on, or really just show you its previous performance almost for the past month. And one of the things that you need to be aware of is that BlackRock revises spot Bitcoin ETF proposal ahead of hoped for SEC approval. Now, the whole thing behind this is that there's been a lot of holdback due to the uncertainty of the, I would say, validity of this spot Bitcoin ETF. So pretty much the SEC doesn't know if they want to approve this, and it's pending approval for this spot Bitcoin ETF. Very, very simple. There's no reason to overcomplicate it. If BlackRock does get the approval, then companies, this pretty much just kind of like breaks down the walls of uncertainty for Bitcoin. As Bitcoin becomes more institutionalized, again, more people begin to accept it. Therefore, the more valid it becomes. At least that's the way that I've interpreted, these different rallies and pullbacks that we've been experiencing in this crypto market. There's two specific stocks that I wanted to talk about, but if you believe I missed out on some very, very lucrative Bitcoin stocks that are also going up and that are waiting for this spot Bitcoin ETF approval, share them down in the comment section, because I'm sure not only myself, but also the viewers could probably benefit from it. And again, in no way are any of these stock suggestions. They're pretty much just two specific stocks that have been going up because of this awareness of potential approval from the SEC, right? The first one is Mara. You could see that really kind of like mid to late November, we really began to see some, again, and this was about a month to a month and a half ago, that they submitted for approval to the SEC. We've been seeing some very bullish momentum for Mara, showing signs of higher highs and higher lows. Again, Marathon Digital Holding Incorporated, the only other one that makes sense to me that, again, a lot of people are paying attention to is Coin. Now, Coin was not doing well, just like Mara was not doing well prior. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I really don't care if you choose to buy it or not. At the end of the day, I just think it's really interesting to kind of like, after the case, if it ends up not getting approved or getting approved, I think the deadline is like January 10th. Let me double check that. Let me just make sure. I think I read it on another article that it's January 10th. Let me know down in the comments section if that is correct or not. But as of right now, all this hype is building up and things are getting factored in. It's kind of like when a company announces that they are about to get acquired by another company at a specific dollar amount. It can cause the stock to drastically experience a positive catalyst because something is getting factored in that wasn't previously factored in. And that's the idea, right? The more acceptance of the spot Bitcoin ETF, the more demand that could present itself for Mara or for something like Coin, right? Coin, same thing. We got a buy signal right around early November, and going into December, it's a very, very strong bull rally. But it was very bearish leading up to this. So the reason I'm making you aware of this is that it's great, especially if it ends up getting approved. Potentially, it can go even higher than what we've already experienced. This is why I'm making the video. But I also need you to be aware that there's always two sides to every opportunity. If it does not get approved on January 10th, and for whatever the reason the SEC might come up with on why to reject it, then guess what? Well, the pending approval is factored in. So what do you think will happen when it's not approved? Okay, well, this thing's going to most likely have to correct itself, right? So it could send it back to previous lows, or maybe even further, because any reaction tends to be an overreaction, which then can lead to an overreaction with that selling pressure, right? And this is why it's very, very important. So Coinbase and Mara are two specific companies that have experienced a positive catalyst due to this. I don't know why, but Carvana has also experienced a really strong rally around the same time. And again, prior to this, Carvana was not doing very well. It's just, again, another stock that was thrown around in our group chat. I just thought that I would bring it to your attention. I'm not invested in any of these. I don't care to. I just always find it very, very interesting. I think this is just my obsession about the market, is that I love to understand the why. Why is something, rallying? Why is there so much demand? And then now that we know the why, it's pending approval for this, Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, what happens when it does and what happens when it doesn't? I find it very interesting to see how the market reacts. If it overreacts, how long does it last? Will it end up correcting itself? If it gets rejected, how will the market react then? You don't always have to have some skin in the game to just want to enjoy and watching the markets react. And this is the beautiful thing about the stock market, is the more that you begin to immerse yourself in this market, I really believe the more that you will ultimately learn, right? So Carvana, Coin mainly, and then Mara are two that have been experiencing some form of positive catalyst in the past month due to this spot coin ETF. I think Carvana is a little bit more of like a Reddit stock right now. So I'd be very, very careful with that. But again, I wanted to make sure that I talked about its previous patterns prior to this, ETF pending approval, and they were all bearish. And the reason I disclose that is I want to make sure that you are aware that if it does end up getting rejected or the hype ends up dying out, you can't be surprised if the stock itself ends up correcting itself. So if you have any questions about what we talked about today, again, I love working with absolute beginners. I trade live every single morning. You get to see my entries, you get to see my exits, but most importantly, you get to hear my thought process behind every single trade I take. So you get to see my good trades, my bad trades. Some days I even take no trades, but it's because then we wait for opportunity to present itself. And that's the beautiful thing about the stock market. Every day it presents new challenges, and I'm here to showcase it live. So if you want to tune on in as soon as tomorrow, that's the second link in the description down below, so you can watch me trade live. And if you have any questions before signing up, shoot me a direct message via Discord, and that's the first link in the description down below. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.